Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another PR News Live. I'm Nicole Schumann. I'm a reporter at PR News, and today we have a special guest, Lou Dubois. Did I say that right? Dubois?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Oh, sorry there. He is the director of editorial content at Hilton, and he oversees video production, product. Has certainly changed since the onset. Okay, sorry about that. I think we're back.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. These things happen. This is the perks of working from home. Okay. So we're back. So we have Lou. He's here from Hilton. I just want to remind everyone. Oh, we're still for. Okay. Sorry. Technical difficulties.
I thought it was me. I feel better that it wasn't just me.
Nope. Okay. Now we're good. All right. Hi, everyone. We're here. This is why we're live, and this is why we have a nice casual conversation every week. Okay. So we're back with Lou, director of editorial content at Hilton. He's going to talk to us about Hilton and the travel industry and the responsibility of brand communications in regards to that and what people are doing as travel has probably decreased a little bit since COVID started. So some different initiatives that they've been doing. I just want to remind everyone, if you have questions during our talk, please pop them in the chat and we'll get to them as we go. Easy kind of rolling conversation sort of thing. So welcome, Lou. We're glad to have you here. And first, I'd like to get to our weekly PR News story discussion. Last week, my colleague Seth Aaronstein published a piece called "Communicators Say We Need to Help a Confused Country." And there's part of the piece there that talks about the responsibility of brand communications. And after reaching out to healthcare PR pros in the article, specifically about these issues, it's clear that most feel brands in and outside the healthcare sector can help a nation that appears swamped with contradictory messages and hard to decipher data points. I definitely say one of those industries includes travel. And Lou, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and how Hilton is working with that challenge.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me, Nicole, and to the team at PR News. Hopefully we've gotten through all the technical hurdles here in the beginning. But I think, it's a great conversation point to start out with. And I think, to your point, things are still far from normal for us. So it's certainly not a past tense conversation that we're going to be having. I think it's also important to think about the psychological impact that this has all had on many of us. And I think that travel in many ways can be one of those things we all talk and think about that gets us to the future. So happy to talk through a lot of those. I think as we think about the responsibility of brands in the piece that you're talking through here, I thought it was really well done. First off, the quote from Darcy from Evoke really stuck out to me down at the bottom, where taking an understanding about the customer and applying it to the moment. I think it's something we definitely did as a company. I think a lot of companies, if you go back and look at where we organizationally started, we're over 100 years old, which you can see on my shirt because I'm wearing a branded shirt. But I think that we had a founder in Conrad Hilton who was way ahead of his time, right? And I think that our purpose and mission, as he really created the company a long time ago, stands to this day. And that's really to be hospitable and to serve people, right? And so I think that as we started this pandemic, those are the two kind of things that we knew we had to do, right? And I think that you don't know what people are going through. I mean, you talk to people during this pandemic, everybody's going through a lot of different stuff. And so particularly for us, doing what we do best, which is to serve people and to provide them a good night's rest and things like that, was really the priority. I think that the other point that I would call out from the article that I thought was really good is to be that example, right? Because I think that for us, you look for hotels and travel, as I said at the beginning, to be a bit of that escape. So the idea that when you walk into a place, you're greeted with, whether it's a warm DoubleTree cookie when you go into one of those hotels, or just a smile from a team member, can go such a long way in kind of changing that person's day. So it's that first impression that kind of can really mean a lot. And that purpose and mission has really driven us through a lot of this.
That's great. I wanted to talk a little bit about Hilton's initiative that they rolled out called Clean Stay. And that was a partnership that you guys have done with Lysol, which I think really works to bolster trust with the public, and especially being so transparent and showing them exactly what you guys are doing to help them feel safe in their stays.
Yeah, excited to talk about it. I think Clean Stay has been a program. If you had told me coming into 2020, I'd be talking about Lysol in a live chat in July, I probably would have been confused. But yeah, I think that more than ever, right, consumers are looking for brands that they can trust, and that goes across the entire spectrum. So for us, when we started this journey to think about what already were very evolved cleaning practices in all of our hotels, we wanted to think about the future and what are guest expectations going to be. And I think as we think about a program like Clean Stay, we actually leaned on an amazing partner in Lysol, who's got incredible products at market. They also, a lot of people don't realize this about Lysol, but they do a ton of research, and I think the bioscience behind their product is quite fascinating as you think about what cleanliness actually means, right? Which has been something we've all had to kind of explore further through this time. We also partnered with the Mayo Clinic, which is a really important group here in America that I think does an amazing amount of research to kind of bring awareness and learning. So I think that for us, the Clean State program, which we started rolling out in our hotels worldwide in about mid-June, is another reassurance for guests that when they come and stay with us, they already had a very clean experience. Now it's like that next level up, right, with Lysol protection. And Lysol product were one of the first products to actually get a lot of sign-off from the CDC as we started a lot of this. So it's been a great one to work on, and I think to the visuals that you showed there while I was talking, the door seal has become a really big one for us, because I think that it shows in a very visceral way to people that the room has been cleaned, right? You have to break a seal to enter the door, which I think gives you a great sense of satisfaction as a consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know even in the before times, as a traveler, cleanliness was very important, and, always something that you would look at. I mean, some people bring their own sheets to hotel, it all depends on, your preferences. So I actually think in a way, this is kind of a great thing to come out of all this, because it is challenging the whole industry to be even more cognizant of cleaning and, maybe looking at the efforts they did before and even improving upon that. So that's really nice for travelers to see.
Yeah, I think it's right. I mean, I think I was definitely one of those people who traveled with lots of sanitizer and wipes on my own. I think as you talk to people who work in the field, they will describe this as probably what they've been doing for years, now catching up to society, right? In a way that we kind of give that double edge of cleanliness to everything that you do. But yeah, I think it's funny too, because you used to think about, the cleaning happening behind the scenes. You knew it happened, but you didn't necessarily need to see it. I think we live in a world now where people want to see it, right? And that's been a crazy shift over the last couple of months. So it's been a great partnership for us. And I think our hotels are the real kind of groups that are making this a reality, right? Because they do it every day. So, I think it's been interesting and a lot of work with all of them to get them up to speed with the program as well.
And because it is such a different partnership, and there is a lot of work that, like you said, does go on behind the scenes with the cleaning and things like that. I think we discussed prior, Hilton has been really great with communicating to its employees and, making them also feel protected and safe and like a big part of the team. So is there anything that you can share in regards to the employees and how they've been communicated to?
Yeah, I mean, I think our internal communications team, who are great partners of mine and could probably speak in a full-length seminar if you needed them to about the many ways in which they communicated with team members. But yeah, that's the priority, right? You need to find a way to talk to your people internally and let them know what is happening and when it's happening. I think that we have a couple of channels that we've actually really leaned on through this period. One that's a mobile application, and another through email communications to really hit a lot of different groups. And then, through these different programs that you talked about, like Clean Stay, it's rolling out toolkits and giving them things that actually, like on the front line, are going to make their jobs easier. So I think that one sign that you pulled up while I was speaking about Clean Stay, that's something you'll see in all the lobbies that you go into, right? It's that welcome, we're ready to serve you, welcome back. Those little things can go a long way from a collateral perspective to help hotels who are, trying to figure out how to navigate in this new world that we live in. So,
great. We do have a question from my colleague Seth, who's watching. He said, it seems most big hotel chains are rolling out clean programs. How is Hilton making its program breakthrough with consumers?
Yeah, I think it's like I said, the visibility aspect of what we talked about. It used to not be as much of a requirement, I think, for consumers to see the cleaning happening. I think that we've been very open in showing it. I think some of the signage that I talked about, everything from putting a sign in the elevator that kind of walks through elevator etiquette to having sort of sanitation wipes and Lysol sort of scattered throughout the hotel for guests to use at their own as well. That makes it for consumers a little more realistic, right? I think that you as a consumer probably want to do an additional level to kind of make sure that you feel comfortable, and I think that we're giving them as much as we can to let them then go to that next step. So yeah, I think everybody outside of hotel spaces too, everybody's thinking about cleanliness, right? If you've been to a restaurant or if you've been to any of the other kind of establishments through this period, it's changed the way we all work and think and act. So
great. Well, I'm going to roll this into your topic for today, which is pretty much the same sort of thing. But just looking at the innovative content and partnerships Hilton has engaged in to commit to that real sense of responsibility of keeping guests and employees safe, but also using content to inspire those who may be suffering from some wanderlust. I know I definitely am. Yeah. So if you're looking for creative ways to engage your audience during this tense time, Lou has some great examples and ideas from Hilton, which I think you mentioned before includes a recipe for a tasty treat that we all know and love.
Yeah, and I think it's a great introduction. Thank you. Feel free to interrupt me as we go through this if additional questions pop in. But I think that for us, it's been an interesting couple of months as we talked about at the top. But I think that if we go back in time a little bit, while it's only been 4 months, it probably feels like 4 years to most of us on the call here. We knew pretty early on that we had to do a couple of things to really kind of, for lack of a better cliche, batten down the hatches and kind of procure our business, right? While also doing that, we knew that, as I said before, our vision and our sort of purpose was to help others and to serve people, right? That's really what we stand for as a company. So doing what's right and helping them was a really big part of that. So we had a very early partnership with American Express that we went into to actually donate 1 million hotel rooms to frontline medical workers. And so I think that started really with the idea that we saw a lot of these nurses and traveling physicians and otherwise who had largely been in New York at the time, but had traveled to sort of help in the real throes of this pandemic, but did not know where they were going to sleep, right? And I think that's like the simplest thing that you want to have reassurance of when you're looking to go and travel somewhere in the middle of a pandemic. So we partnered with all these organizations that you can see here. And I think if you talk to some of the nurses who participated in the program, was a great success and really just gave them an opportunity for one less thing to worry about, right? And I think in a time when they're working 15-hour shifts, 5 hours a day, we talked to one nurse who worked for 60 days up in New York. She was from Atlanta, and basically told us if she had not had that hotel, she could never have envisioned doing this. So that's like a small thing that to us made such a huge difference. Yeah, as a follow-up to that, we ended up partnering with World Central Kitchen, again through our relationship with Amex. And I know, Nicole, you've got deep thoughts about WCK. I think what Jose Garces has done over the last couple of years has been incredible, going back to Puerto Rico and even beyond. You've got this incredible award-winning restaurateur who is doing so much just to make sure that we as a society can get the basic necessities to the people who need it the most, right? And so for us, being able to just kind of utilize that ability to turn on a partnership with them and to feed those nurses, right, who, like I said, are working 15-hour shifts and they're like starving but don't know where they're going to get dinner. So I think those were great partnerships to kind of do what's right and to set the foundation, as we talked about. I think beyond that, I think that we had to provide a sense of inspiration. To your point, we're all cooped up in apartments or houses or whatever, and dreaming about all these places that we want to go that just can't go to anymore, right? We, in the early stages, actually did a pretty cool program that we called Hilton at Home, where we actually tapped into a lot of our internal experts in design and wellness and fitness and all these different things to give you the hotel experience at home, right? So think about, like, how do you design your living room for a bit of a hotel lobby kind of look and feel that feels a little more inspirational. I think that the biggest success that we had in all of that was actually through something we had talked about for a long time that we felt like was the right time to do it. So we actually released the recipe for the DoubleTree cookie, which, if you've traveled and stayed at DoubleTree hotels, it's long been kind of duplicated, and a lot of the food blogs had really been curious as to, like, what made it so good, right? So while a cookie recipe is not going to change the world in any way, I think it did provide a sense of comfort and warmth in a time when we really needed it. This was early April when we were kind of all on lockdown. For those who are looking for the secret, there's a great kind of video to support it there. It's lemon juice. Like, who knew that lemon juice was the secret to, like, keeping the cookies so good? It helps the flour rise a little bit more and kind of makes them big and juicy. So I think that was really interesting, and just the return on the focus we got from that one simple act, like just the idea of providing somebody with a sense of warmth while we were all sort of stuck at home and baking. It was like everybody went on sourdough, and then they went to the DoubleTree cookie next. So that was an easy one for us, and it got, we weren't in it to really get people talking about our brand, but it gave them something to do, right? And so there's still videos being posted about people baking the cookies, and I always enjoy the cookie fails too, because those are always kind of fun to dig through on social. So all of that, and then I think we worked with our social teams on a couple of programs too. One,
questions about the cookie.
Stop me whenever.
Sorry, 2 quick questions. Number 1, was it hard to get clearance to release the recipe?
Well, I think that probably not as hard as it would have been in normal times. I think that we had actually shot a lot of the footage that you see through the recipe video there back at the end of last year for a project. So we had all the footage, we had the recipe. We really just had to get through, like, the internal channels, but I think because of the time that it was, we saw this as something that would really just be like that positive sense of warmth that we talked about. At the end of the day, it's a cookie, right? And I think it was really cool to see this take off in the way that it did. But no, it wasn't terribly difficult. Once we sort of shopped the idea around, I think most executives were pretty stoked about it. So.
The other question, how many cookies did you eat during the process?
Oh boy. So I'm not a big baker, but and I will tell you, if you are like me and just prefer to, like, buy the cookies, you can do that too. I think probably, after we put the video together, because we spent a lot of hours that week just looking at different cookie footage, we probably went through a tin. I'm not gonna lie. So the tin has about 6 cookies. But yeah, they're quite delicious, and like I said, you don't even taste the lemon juice. It's just one of those unique surprises that who knew was the secret.
I'm gonna keep that in mind the next time I bake cookies. It's a little too hot right now, but for the future, definitely will help. Sorry, and you started mentioning your social team.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that there were a couple of things that our social team did an amazing job at during this too. We saw what was happening around the world, and I think our hotels on the front line, you think about them as sort of the conduit to the consumer. And they pivoted very quickly into doing things for people that I think was really incredible to see. So you probably saw some of the examples where hotels were turning lights on in different cities in the shape of hearts and things like that, which I think was a really simple but nice gesture that a lot of medical workers really enjoyed. We had a hotel in Cameroon that we work with who actually put a hand washing station out in front of their hotel because places to wash your hands is actually a very difficult thing to find there. So little small things, everything from food donations to donation of supplies to just like places to kind of, sort of get a little bit of respite. It was just incredible to see the like innovative thinking of these small hotels all over the world that were just pivoting to think about like, how can we be hospitable in a time like this? So I thought that was really cool. And then we also did sort of those big moments that we talked about. So, we've got lots of beautiful hotels and footage and photography. So our social team created a Monday moment of Zen, which if you look at it, and I think I gave you guys one or two examples. If you think of like the old school, like CBS Sunday Morning example where they end their show with, like the beautiful nature scenes, like we just had so many of those. And so whether it's a sunrise or a sunset at a particular hotel, if it's, kind of a lake with animals, like just gives you a little bit of a break from the craziness that we're all dealing with, which did really well. And then Feel Good Fridays, which not an original concept, but was one that we hadn't done too much with, really took off for us as well. And we profiled a couple of those stories that I talked about. One that sticks out, in my mind at least, we worked with a woman, her name is Rosie Swale Pope. She is a grandmother from the UK who is running from the UK to Kathmandu for charity, which again, it's crazy to even just say that. But she got stuck in Turkey in the midst of all of this. And I think basically was on lockdown as the only hotel guest at this Hilton Garden Inn in Safranbolo. And he was just an incredible ray of light to talk to. You can watch this video here, probably at your own leisure, but just such a positive outlook on life and just like going through this moment that I think, profiled not only what she was doing, but with the hotel who basically had no other guests. They put a treadmill in her room. They put a bike in her room. They treated her with groceries whenever she needed it. So like I said, it's those kind of things that you didn't expect that just kind of blew our minds when we heard about these stories. So
I'm not even good at running just with myself. I don't know how that woman was pulling that contraption behind her.
It's her little buggy, as she describes it. And yeah, I mean, she basically pulls it with her the whole time. She sleeps in it when she's not in a hotel. She's actually not used to sleeping in a hotel. And yeah, just an incredible inspiration. If you look up her story, she's done a lot of incredible stuff over the course of her lifetime. But she was so kind and gracious to the team and said that the Hilton was forever going to be a part of her story, kind of coming out of this, which, small things like that go a long way.
That's awesome. I think that's the thing we all miss most about travel is just meeting new people and seeing new places, but there's always some sort of good story that comes out of a new place you visit, or even a hotel that you might stay at just overnight on your way to somewhere else. So I thank you so much for sharing these examples with us, and I hope they've been able to inspire our viewers as well to create some amazing content of their own and to look for the stories. I mean, that's really what I think, and you have a journalism background as well, Lou. What makes the best stories for brands is really, looking for the people that are really creating change, and it's just personal stories. That's really all it is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think it's very kind of you to have us on, and I think it is an important voice. We need to be dreaming about content or about travel again, because I think that it's something we all want to get out and do as soon as we can. But while we can't do that, like let's do what we can to help others, right? And I think that's the point any brand can make right now. I think if you, for the rest of our lifetimes, people are going to be asking us what you did during this period, right? Whether you're a person or a brand. And I think, for us, we had a platform and a purpose that we were able to stand behind through a lot of the examples I talked about here. I think you have to do what's right. You have to prioritize people. You have to provide that inspiration. And that I think will make people want to do business with you, coming out of this pandemic, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. And I, for myself, will say I can't wait till I can sleep in a hotel bed again at some point. So
yeah, for sure.
So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for joining us and your questions today. I just want to let you guys know that we have a great free live event on August 18th for those PR and comms folks who may feel a bit stretched on resources right now. I know there are many of you. It's called How to Do More with Less, a holistic approach to PR. This will be good if you're a team of one, or if you have a lot more on your plate than you used to. And you can find it at prnewsonline.com under webinars. We'll share the link in the chat. I'll be hosting, and we have some great guests, and we'll have some great ideas and tips and tricks for you guys to learn. Thanks again, Lou. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. Stay safe.
Thank you.